Lords of Brimstone, the secret society that controls the world. Copyright, 2024 by Ace Donovan, Brock Edwards, Mickey Stone. Published and distributed by HoosierHorrorStories.com. This book is a work of fiction. Any references to historical events, real people or real places are used fictitiously. Other names, characters, places and events are products of the author's imaginations, and any resemblance to actual events or places or persons, living or dead, is entirely coincidental. Unauthorized reproduction or distribution without the expressed written consent of Ace Donovan or Brock Edwards or Mickey Stone is strictly prohibited. Bible scriptures in this book are from the King James Version. Introduction. Join teenager Jesse Wagner on a journey that he didn't expect. A fatherless young man whose job was to deliver medicines to those less fortunate, instantly is thrust into a society involving murder and espionage. Join Jesse on his adventure. Chapter 1: Controlling the Anger. "Hey, freak," Donnie Adams exclaimed as he flung a partially eaten orange at Jesse Wagner. It hurled into his shoulder as he sat finishing his Chick-fil-A in the mall food court. Jesse turned and saw Donnie Adams looking angrily at him. "That's right, you freak." Jesse Wagner lifted his middle finger and showed it proudly to Donnie Adams. "I will see you someday outside." Jesse rose and gave Donnie Adams both middle fingers as he walked away from Adams. Jesse Wagner could feel the anger welling in his stomach. He thought to himself that, yes indeed. Someday we will meet. Then, I will not ignore my anger. Jesse knew he had anger issues, breaking glasses, throwing rocks at birds. There was a part of him that even he didn't understand. But on this day, Donnie Adams was spared. Donnie Adams was the epitome of a bully. He was headed to Indiana State University in the fall to play baseball. Donnie didn't care that he was viewed as a jerk. He embraced it. Most were afraid to fight back against Adams because as an athlete, he automatically was one of the cool kids. High school was now over though, and Jesse wanted an opportunity to set things straight with Adams. Jesse Wagner was now 18 years old and by the grace of God had graduated high school. There was no scholarship for baseball, football, or basketball for Jesse. Jesse was beginning his search for a job today. He was at the mall applying at every place that had a sign and even those that didn't. Jesse was virtually on his own. His mother, Heather Wagner, was physically present but mentally absent. Heather was working as a waitress during the day and had perfected the job of sleeping with anyone who would buy the booze. Jesse's father, Gavin Wagner, walked out 4 years ago. Jesse was a freshman and had shown some potential as a football player. Jesse could summon the anger and it made him a vicious hitter on the field. Once Gavin left, Jesse lost interest in virtually everything. He quit football and even though he attended school, his interest waned. Jesse was more than capable, and he liked to read. He once had read that Abraham Lincoln self-taught himself by reading, a lot. Jesse also liked to read. It was a way for Jesse to escape. He would immerse himself in the book. He could be the hero, he could be the beloved son, he could be the loved football player who got the cheerleader. That wasn't Jesse's life though. His was a life of loneliness. He had one friend in the entire world. His friend was Neil Howard. Neil Howard was an outcast much like Jesse. Neil didn't graduate and didn't feel the need. He was 20 years old and worked as a delivery man for a local doctor named Harry Leonard. Dr. Harry Leonard had been the family doctor for Jesse and his mother for as long as he could remember. He assumed he had been his doctor since he was born. Neil Howard would deliver furosemide to the hills of Kentucky to another doctor named Hugh Pitts. Furosemide is a water pill for those with congestive heart failure. The reality was Neil Howard was delivering nothing more than aspirin. A placebo, some people would say. It was quite a way for the two doctors to scam the insurance companies and keep the patients coming back for more. More for less, Dr. High Pitts would say. Neil saw Jesse walking down the sidewalk and quickly pulled his Mustang over to the side of the road. "Get in," Neil said. Jesse quickly skipped to the car and hopped inside the car. "What's up, bro?" Jesse said. They went cruising through town and Jesse told Neil that he had spent the entire day looking for a job. Neil told him about his gig. "I make over $500 making 2 trips a week." "Easy cash," Neil said. "I don't have a car," Jesse said. "I tell you what, you ride with me, and I will pay you 20% of my earnings. I get bored driving by myself. You can make some money, and if you save enough, then you can get your own wheels." "Come on, bro, it will be cool," Donnie said. "All right bro, I'm in," Jesse said. They bumped fists and a partnership was formed. Chapter 2: Dealing with Donnie. For 2 weeks Jesse Wagner and Neil Howard had been riding together to eastern hills of Kentucky delivering water pills to a doctor named Hugh Pitts. Dr. Pitts was then supposed to give these to underprivileged patients at an extremely low cost. Dr. Pitts could then bill the government insurance at a higher price and pocket the extra money. Dr. Pitts had quite the side hustle. He would take the deliveries and mix them with a placebo, more commonly referred to as a sugar pill, and could stretch the water pills to even more people. He was expanding his service area to reach into Pennsylvania and West Virginia. He was getting himself some partners to stack the profits. It was quite the scam. In the mind of Dr. Pitts, he was simply taking advantage of the systems set up by the government. It certainly wasn't his fault. It was the lobbyists. It was Big Pharma, it was the laboratories making the pills. It was the elites that controlled all the industries. It certainly wasn't his fault. "Do you think I could get my own gig making deliveries?" Jesse asked Neil. "I don't see why not," Neil said. "You have a license. You need a set of wheels. I have some money stashed away. Maybe I can find a capable car somewhere," Jesse responded. "You know my Uncle Smitty? John Smith. You know he lives out there in the country?" Neil asked. "He has a F-150 in his barn. He told me he would take $1,000. I have that. You think it would be worth it?" Jesse asked. "You know, to be able to make runs to Kentucky a few times a week?" "Please. An old truck. You know those things run for years. Also, it has this shitty camper on it." "He said it comes with the truck," Neil said. "Call him," Jesse said. Over the next 4 weeks, Jesse drove that truck to Kentucky as often as possible and even made a couple of night trips. The camper was coming in handy. Jesse and Neil were hanging out on a Friday night. They were cruising the boulevard, the kids called it. They were discussing their entrepreneurial endeavors. Jesse had stashed away $2,500 on his trips. "Damn," Neil said, "how many trips do you make a week?" "I make 3 or 4 trips a week. I have even been getting an extra $200 by bringing something back here," Jesse said. "What is it?" Neil asked. You know better than that," Jesse said. "I ask nothing and that way I don't know nothing." Neil nodded. "Stop the car!" Jesse screamed. Neil slammed on the brakes and before he could ask, Jesse had opened the passenger door and jumped out and was running in the city parking lot. Kids simply called it the zone. Neil watched as Jesse sprinted toward the larger figure. The person turned and saw Jesse too late. Jesse drew back his right fist and landed it on the jaw of Donnie Adams. Adams was rocked. Adams stumbled and bounced into the side of his mother's Escalade. As Adams tried to steady himself, Jesse blasted him twice. He hit Adams once in the stomach and once in the side of the head. Adams hit the concrete with full force. Blood dribbled from Adams' mouth. Just as quickly as Jesse had hit him, Jesse was turned and running full sprint back to Neil's car. Neil spun the car and Jesse jumped into the open passenger door and slammed it shut. "Drive," Jesse exclaimed. "Damn boy," Neil said as he squealed out of the zone and back onto Main Street and then headed out of town. "I told him that I would get him. Somewhere. Sometime. Today was the day," Jesse said. Chapter 3: Dodging Danger. "I think I need to get out of town," Jesse said. "Why?" "Just a little scuffle," Neil said with a laugh. "I am sure you didn't kill him." "True, but you know Joe Smith is his stepfather." "You know, Joe Smith is in Smithsburg, the town we live in. They own the shithole. Man, sometimes, I just can't control my anger. I just have to let it out. This has festered for weeks, hell, maybe years. He is such an enormous jerk, Jesse said. Reality is half the town will want to lynch you and half the town will want to give you a medal, Neil gave in response. Neil dropped Jesse off at Jesse's house. Jesse immediately jumped in his truck and left. Jesse never returned to Smithsburg for years. Jesse drove to Big Bone Lick State Park in Kentucky. He waited for a solid week, staying in his camper and occasionally going into town for food. He knew he needed to make a connection to Dr. Pitts and see if he could make deliveries without going back to Smithsburg. There had to be other delivery routes. People need furosemide across the United States. I have this truck with a camper and can make overnight deliveries. Jesse figured he could deliver farther east if needed. Lucky for him, Dr. Pitts agreed. Jesse walked into Dr. Pitts' office and his receptionist, Marla Edmonds, knew Jesse as he walked into the place. Marla is a young mother. She is just 20 years old and has a 3-year-old at home. It has been tough on her, but she is digging her way out of a financial hole. The father of her child was just a guy. A guy who came into her life quickly and left even quicker. His name is Jake Masters. The child, a girl, has Marla's last name and a hopeful first name of Heaven. She thought Jesse was very cute. His dark eyes and dark hair were attractive, and Marla was attracted to the bad boy type. Jesse seemed to fit that bill. "Well, hey cutie," Marla said. Jesse smiled big. "Hi Marla. Think I can see Dr. Pitts?" "I'll check," she replied. Jesse sat down in the lobby and grabbed a magazine. It was issued by the Smithsonian Institute. He was reading about the Battle of Vicksburg, when Marla broke his concentration. "He can see you in just a few minutes. It is almost lunch and he ordered in Pizza Hut." "Do you like pizza?" she asked. "Who doesn't? And if they don't, I wouldn't trust them," Jesse said. "Agreed," Marla said. Jesse went back to reading his magazine. After a few minutes, again Marla interrupted him. "Come on back, handsome." Jesse rose and followed Marla to the back office of Dr. Pitts. The three of them, along with Dr. Pitts' nursing staff, enjoyed pizza and breadsticks when Dr. Pitts told Jesse to come with him to exam room 4. "What can I do for you, Jesse?" Dr. Pitts said. "I was thinking, Dr. Pitts, would it be possible for me to run some deliveries without going back to Smithsburg?" Jesse inquired. "I heard you had a little issue up there. Kick the ass of that whiny Donnie Adams." "Trust me, we even know who he is," Dr. Pitts said. "You would be safe going back there. His stepfather is under control. The reality is that given the chance, I will kick Donnie Adams' ass again. And again. And again. I hate that guy," Jesse said. Okay, Dr. Pitts said with a laugh. "I can have you make some runs to West Virginia. There is a doctor there named Dr. Oswald Young. He needs the water pills as well as these painkillers. Now keep in mind, OxyContin is a powerful and expensive drug. There will be people that will want those deliveries. It is dangerous, and because of that, I will give you an extra $400 per delivery. That is $900 a delivery. A lot of dough for a young guy like you. $900? West Virginia. You got a deal," Jesse said as he stuck out his hand. Dr. Pitts shook Jesse's hand. "Good choice, young man." Chapter 4: A New Job. Jesse could not believe the amount of money he was making. He was making 2 and sometimes 3 deliveries a week for Dr. Pitts. It had been a month, and with Jesse staying in parks and sleeping in his camper, he had amassed over $3,000. In his free time, Jesse made a secret compartment in his truck. He built a small compartment under the camper attachment and hid the money there. He didn't trust the people who ran banks, and besides, he would have the money at his disposal any time he would need it. He bought himself an icebox, a cot, and a wok. He felt like that was really all he needed. He was becoming completely self-sufficient. Someday, he thought, I can buy myself a ranch. Have a couple of horses and live in the mountains somewhere. Jesse finally mustered up the courage to ask Marla for a date. He had read the signals, even though he was slow on the draw, and invited Marla for supper and a movie. He picked up Marla at her mother's house where she lived. Marla looked great, he thought. Marla is a tad overweight but wears it well. She doesn't overdo it with tight clothes and wears shirts that show just enough cleavage to be interesting. To Jesse, she was perfect in every way. She was the first female that Jesse had taken on a date. He would have the occasional hookup and maybe a date or two with a girl, but to Jesse they weren't interesting. Marla was more like a woman and not a girl. Jesse didn't go inside the house as Marla met him on the porch. "Heaven is asleep and I didn't want to wake her," Marla said. Jesse nodded. "You don't talk much, do you, handsome?" "I suppose not," Jesse said. They attended a matinee movie and then Jesse took Marla to eat at Chili's. "Sorry about the truck. I am going to have a nicer vehicle someday. But for now, this is perfect. You know, for making deliveries and having the camper for late-night trips," Jesse said. "Don't apologize for being a man who actually takes responsibility and is trying to make a living. Heaven's father turned out to be a huge loser. I hate that I hooked up with him, but I am so thankful for heaven. I give thanks to God every night for her," Marla said. "God, huh?" Jesse said. "Yep, you know, the big guy. The man upstairs. Creator. Giver of life. Whatever you want to call him," Marla said. "Well, I don't call him at all," Jesse said with a chuckle. "You may, someday. Everyone comes to the realization that there is something out there. You just have to decide whether you believe that God matters." "You matter to him," Marla said. "I suppose," Jesse said, and then changed the subject. "So why him?" "Why, who?" Marla said. "Heaven's Father," Jesse said. "Oh, him. Well, it wasn't a one-night stand, if that is what you were thinking. He was older. He was 20. He rode a motorcycle. He was attractive. He seemed to have money. I was young. I was not very astute. I think he was probably dealing drugs. He swept in and was gone. I think the heat was on him," Marla said. "Dealing drugs?" Jesse asked, surprised. "I don't know that for a fact, but he left quickly," Marla said. "Maybe he just wanted to tap it and lap it," Jesse said as he dipped his chip in the salsa. "Tap it and lap it? That is rude," Marla said. "I am sorry. I can be awkward. You are the first, woman that I have ever gone on a date with." "I apologize," Jesse said. Marla smiled her beautiful smile. "You do that a lot." Jesse tilted his head as if to ask what. "Apologize. That isn't a bad thing." It was good evening, Jesse thought as he walked Marla to the door. "Thank you, Jesse. It has been a while for me." "I loved our evening," Marla said. Jesse was not sure what he should say, so he said nothing. "You can kiss me," she said. Jesse did. Chapter 5: The Day It Changed. Over the next month, Jesse continued to make his deliveries to Dr. Oswald Young in West Virginia and had almost $10,000 in his secret hiding spot. Everything was moving along for his dreams. He and Marla would go on a date every Friday night, and on Sundays, he went to her mother's house for Sunday dinner. It was something that Jesse never had. A family setting. He even enjoyed playing dolls with heaven. He wasn't sure it was love, but he knew it was more than infatuation. Jesse's whole world was about to be rocked. It was a typical Wednesday and Jesse went to the back door of Dr. Pitt's office to get his load. It was a normal trip to West Virginia. Another $900. Jesse intended on asking Marla if she would like to go on a quick trip to the mountains in North Carolina. He rented a cabin and thought it would be a chance for the two of them to become more intimate. He was going to call her on his trip to Dr. Young's office and ask her about the trip. As soon as he entered the back door, he got a bad feeling. There was a smell that he had never really encountered. He wasn't sure what to make of the smell. It had a hint of metallic to it. Jesse began to have an uneasy feeling. He could see light cracking through the door of Dr. Pitt's office. "Dr. Pitts," Jesse called. There was no answer. Dr. Pitts, he called again as he began to creep his way toward the office. He gently pushed the door open and immediately felt his stomach do flips. Dr. Pitts was lying across his desk facing the wall behind the desk. His pants were down to his ankles with his legs spread wide. He could see that the doctor had been castrated. "Oh, dear God," Jesse said. He slipped as he entered the office. Blood was splattered everywhere. He walked to the corner of Dr. Pitt's desk and could see that Dr. Pitt's penis was in his mouth. Jesse grabbed the trash can and began to empty his stomach. Jesse tried to jog out of the room and again slipped in the bloody mess. He grabbed the counter and managed to keep his balance. He left the door wide open as he sprinted out the back door and jumped into his truck. He took off for North Carolina, without Marla. Chapter 6: Giving Marla a Call. Jesse Wagner knew he couldn't call Marla on his cell phone, but he needed to talk to someone. He was hiding in a national forest in North Carolina. The Black Rope National Forest is what he believed the sign said as he drove the F-150 deep into the woods. He stayed there 2 days before going into town. It is difficult to hide his looks. Jesse had been trying to grow a mustache for 2 years, and when it comes to a beard, well, that is completely out of the question. Last night, Jesse was listening to the radio when a report explained that a manhunt was underway for Jesse Wagner, aged 19. Brown hair, blue eyes, 5 to 10, 170 pounds of slight build. He knew that was fairly accurate, and he also knew that it could also describe many teenagers in the world. It was the description of the truck that caused the problem. While in town, he bought himself some spray paint. It wouldn't hold forever, but it could do the trick for a few days. He wasn't sure how long. He also purchased a track phone. He figured it would be good for one connected call and then it could be an issue. He took an entire day and spray painted the truck dark black. It could travel in the night without being seen easily, and it would be hard to see in the woods, day or night. Jesse had just finished a can of Vienna sausage when he decided to make his call. If the movies are right, he would have just a couple of minutes to talk to Marla. He made the call. "Hello," Jesse knew the voice immediately. It was Marla. "Listen, I probably have just a minute or two. Remember the email you got? The one where we laughed and dreamed? I am there. If you can see me, then great. If you can't, that is fine too. Bye, Marla." He clicked the red button and ended the call. He took the SIM card from the phone and bent it in half until it snapped. He threw one in Woods and put the other in the wok. "Jess," Marla uttered, but she knew he was gone. She knew the email that he was talking about. "It was him," the man said. Marla looked at the two men standing before her. One a black man, large. He had to be at least 6'4" and 250 pounds. He had a shaved head and a close-cropped beard. She supposed that he could be seen as attractive. He had a big smile and big biceps to go along with smile. The other man was white. He was close to 6'0" and had longer hair pulled back with a hairband. He was wiry. He looked rough around the edges. She was more her type of man. He had a beard and was wearing a jean jacket, jeans, and work boots. She nodded. It was him. "He is safe," the black man said. "Who are you two? You come in here like some kind of Pulp Fiction knockoffs. You come into my mother's house. You basically hold us hostage." "Why should I trust you?" Marla said. "Okay, look. They call me Rev and this is Dave. We are on your side. We know Jesse didn't do anything. The problem is that the cops think he did, and they will be relentless. We want to protect him. We work for a doctor named Oswald Young. He was helping us stop this illegal drug trade. Dr. Pitts was involved in some very shady procedures. He was helping to hook these unsuspecting people to Oxy," the Rev said. "What? Dr. Pitts? That is impossible," Marla said. "It doesn't matter if you believe Marla. Belief or lack of belief doesn't change what is happening. It happens whether you believe or not," Dave said. The Rev spoke. "What if we take you to Jesse?" I am supposed to just believe you, Marla said. Dave broke in, look, let me be frank with you. If we wanted to hurt you, your daughter, or your mom, it would have already happened. Why would we kill Dr. Pitts and let you live? Because you need me to get to Jesse, Marla said. The Rev took a big breath, fair point. We don't know what it is going to take. Seems we are at a standstill. A true Mexican standoff. The thing is, Marla. The bad guys are after Jesse, the cops are after Jesse, and we want Jesse, and we are the only ones that want to keep him alive. We are the only ones that want him alive. That is a fact. I'm still not sure, but you do make a good point. I suppose that you are all I have. I will tell you. Please don't hurt him, Marla said. Chapter 7: The Cabin in the Woods. Jesse rented a cabin in the woods of North Carolina. The original plan was to spend a romantic 3 days with Marla, but now it was just a place for him to hide. No romance, just a lot of anxiety and occasional fear. Jesse walked out onto the back porch and sat down on the steps and lit a joint. He was watching a couple of squirrels playing with a nut. How did he get here? Why was he here? He blew the joint and relaxed. He walked into the cabin and there was a man sitting at the kitchen table. What the hell, Jesse said. Jesse turned and began to break for the back door. A large black man stopped him in his tracks. Oh God, please don't kill me, Jesse said. Whoa cowboy, no one is going to kill you, the large black man said. Have a seat, Jesse, the white man sitting at the table said. The black man pulled out a chair and gestured to Jesse to take a seat. He followed up Jesse by sitting across from the white man. Jesse spoke, I didn't do it. I didn't kill Dr. Pitts. I just found him that way. The black man replied, we know Jesse. We are here for you to protect you. Jesse dropped his eyes. A tear began to run down his cheek. The anxiety had finally boiled over and he could no longer control it. Jesse, you are okay. We got you. I am the Rev, and this is Dave. We are going to get you out of here. You are right. You do need protection, but not from us. You need protection from the people that killed Dr. Pitts, the Rev said. We have been watching you the whole time. We are working for Dr. Oswald Young. He is not actually distributing those dangerous drugs to the people of Appalachia. He is trying to help them. Dr. Pitts and his cronies are bad people. We are working to get to the top of it. Dr. Pitts is a small fish in a big pond. They, whoever they are, found out that Dr. Pitts was going to leave the country. They needed his business. There's always fear a guy like Dr. Pitts can turn on them and work with the feds, Dave said. Jesse, still shaken, spoke, so you guys are cops? FBI? Dave laughed, oh hell no. We are better than that. The Rev leaned toward Jesse, we work for an organization called The Shield. We don't expect you to understand any of this, but you have to know that you are in trouble. The Shield is here to keep you safe. We are kinda like a vigilante movie. Everyone loves those, right? Jesse, you got 5 minutes to pack what you need, and we leave, Dave said. What about my truck? I painted it, I can hide in it, Jesse said. Your truck is gone, Jesse. Just pack your shit and let's go. Sorry for swearing, Rev, Dave said. What do you mean my truck is gone? Jesse said as he jumped from the table and ran to the front window and looked outside. Where? Gone, Rev said. Let's go. Chapter 8: A Surprise Visit. Jesse piled into the van behind Dave as the Rev waited outside. Once Jesse got inside, the Rev shut the sliding van door and walked around and got in the passenger side. A blond man sitting in the driver's seat turned and looked. I'm Ty and I will be your pilot for today and maybe tomorrow, he said with a laugh. On the drive, Ty, Dave, and the Rev gave a longer version of the Shield and an organization known as the Lords of Brimstone. The Lords were absolutely buried in nefarious activities. Jesse's head was swimming as they poured out information. But why are you saving me? Why would this group, the Lords of Brimstone, care about me? Jesse said. Loose ends, Jesse. They are tying loose ends. Things have been unraveling for the lords. Their drug trade is falling into the wrong hands. We suspect that the cartel decided to double-cross the lords and now it is a war between them and well, you are just stuck in the middle. I believe the military refers to it as collateral damage, Dave said. Collateral damage? I am just collateral damage. I was just trying to make some dough and move to the mountains. Collateral damage, Jesse said. Well, not now, the Rev said. We are going to make sure that doesn't happen. I still don't understand. Why me? Why am I important? I mean, I appreciate the alleged help, but why me? Jesse asked. You will see, Dave said. The Rev turned and talked to Dave. Have you talked to Bucky? He is looking into a group called the Bavarian Grove. Apparently, many of the lords are members. Hard to tell exactly what the Bavarian Grove does. Not sure what their connection to the lords would be or why. Sir talked to me and Jenksy. I think we going to do a little recon. One of my favorite things. Hiding in the shadows, Dave laughed. Dave, you need to be careful. You have no idea who these people are, the Rev said. Ty spoke up. Me and Trey are going to be there to oversee them. Keep them safe. Jesse found himself dozing to sleep. He didn't know what they were talking about and quite frankly, didn't care. He fell asleep as the speaking between Ty, Dave, and the Rev became just drones. Jesse's eyes flew open. Had this been a dream? He looked to the side. Nope, there sat Dave. Wake up, little Susie, the Rev was singing. We are almost there. Where are we? Jesse said. He could see that the sun was peeking in the horizon. He had slept all night. He could see that they were in the mountains. Wooded mountains. New York, maybe? Smart kid, Dave said. They drove for another hour as the sun rose. There was little talking as they began winding into the mountains. They turned down a long driveway and began to approach a log cabin. He could see smoke arising from the chimney. A little off-grid. My favorite kind of house, Dave said. The van came to a stop. Come on, Jesse. You are going to be living here for a few days, the Rev said. Jesse grabbed his bag and carried into the cabin and sat it beside the couch as he took a seat. Dave sat down in a rocker and the Rev sat on the couch with Jesse as Ty stood in front of the fireplace warming his hands. Even though Jesse didn't find it that cold. A shadow covered an entrance as a man came into sight. Hi, son. The man said. Dad, Jesse grunted. Chapter 9 An explanation from Gavin. Dad, Jesse Wagner uttered barely above a whisper. I'm going to guess you have lots of questions, Gavin Wagner replied. Jesse sprung up from the couch. You are damn right I have questions. I should just beat your ass, right now. Jesse approached Gavin with a vengeance. He was angry and Jesse had anger issues. Whoa, there, Jesse. Calm down, Dave said as he took a bite of apple he had grabbed from the kitchen counter earlier. He was laying back in a lazy boy and looked closely at Jesse. Jesse, I left for your protection, Gavin said. My protection? My protection? You left me when I was 14. When I needed my father the most, you up and left, Jesse said as he pushed his father hard enough that caused Gavin to stumble backwards. Jesse, Dave said as if he was scolding a child. It was loud enough that the Rev came from the back room. Jesse turned his attention to Dave. What are you going to do about it? This has nothing to do with you. Jesse walked toward the lazy boy. I will kick your ass, too. Before Jesse knew what had happened, Dave had kicked the lazy boy shut and had swept Jesse's feet out from under him. Jesse slammed to the floor on his back, losing his breath. Dave straddled Jesse with his knees on both arms where Jesse could not move. Now when I say settle down, I mean it, Dave said as he calmly took another bite of apple. What are you? Some kind of crazy psycho killer, Jesse grunted as he tried to move. Dave raised his eyebrows. You tell me. I am the very one protecting your father and you. The Rev spoke. Seems you have made your presence felt, he laughed, and the room seemed to simmer down. Ty grabbed a Coke from the fridge and sat at the bar in the kitchen. Can I talk now, Jesse? Trust me, I have seen Dave do worse, Gavin said. You got one chance, Jesse said. First, I was a drug addict. I have the needle marks to prove it. Your mom is too, Gavin said. Jesse interrupted, don't bring my mother into this. You keep her name out of your mouth if I will smack it out. Jesse stopped when Dave leaned forward. Jesse looked at Dave and Dave simply cut his eyes at him. It's true, Jesse. I had to cover the expenses, so I began delivering. Basically, like you were doing for the doctors. He paused and waited for a reaction from Jesse. Jesse nodded as if to say go ahead. I might skim a little for me and your mom. It didn't seem to bother anyone. They never said anything. I am sure they knew, but as long as they were getting their cash, and the more addicted I became, the more I had to deliver. Then I met a woman named Sally Jo. Well, she goes by Sally Jo. I was making runs with her. She was a great cover, and like Dave there, Sally Jo was, how do you say, persuasive. Eventually, this group of people that we were delivering for wanted Sally Jo's daughter. Like wanted her, Gavin said. Wanted her? To deliver, like me, Jesse said. No, if only. Instead, they wanted her for sex parties. Sex parties. And here is the top of the cake, she was just 12. 12 years old, can you imagine? 12 years old? It kept getting worse. They wanted to use her for more than sex. Sally Jo and I wanted to find a way out. That was when the Rev showed up one night. Sally Jo was already in the van and the girl was missing, still is. The Rev said that the Lords of Brimstone wanted to kill me, and if they couldn't get to me, then my family, Gavin said. So, these guys, the Rev, Dave, Ty, they are the Lords of Brimstone? Jesse asked. Hell no, Dave exclaimed, I eliminated some guys to keep your dad safe. Eventually they kept Sally Jo's daughter and the interest in your dad began to wane. The attention is all on Sally Jo. Why not go to the cops, Jesse said. The Rev laughed, hard to tell the good ones from the bad ones. We are trying to find Sally Jo's daughter. Sally Jo works with us. Don't you figure that her daughter is dead? I mean, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but 4 years, Jesse said. We do it for Sally Jo and we eliminate some of the ones responsible. They deserve it. Don't you agree? Dave said. But what about my mom? Jesse said. With all due respect, Jesse, they have your mother addicted. They don't have to threaten because they control her with the drugs, Dave said. Then why not let my dad go back home? Jesse asked. I helped these guys find some of the people responsible for Sally Jo's daughter. They know that. It got me into more hot water than it did when I was skimming heroin. Once they recruited you, they thought they could get to me and then in turn to Sally Jo, Gavin concluded. They didn't recruit me. My friend Neil recruited me, Jesse said. Ty spoke for the first time. Jesse, Neil is just a pawn in their game. He doesn't even know. He has no idea what is going on, but they gave him a bonus of $2,000 to get you with him. What? Neil? Jesse said. Dave leaned forward and tossed the apple core into the trash can in the corner. Listen closely, Jesse. Are you listening? Jesse nodded. Neil killed the doctor. What? Jesse leaned back and shut his eyes. Chapter 10. Gavin has a life-changing dream. Neil killed the doctor, Jesse said, not as much asking as processing. But why? The doctor was taking care of us. It doesn't make sense. Where would he get money now? Jesse asked as he looked at his shoes, trying to evaluate the information he was taking into his mind. The Rev took a seat by Jesse on the couch. We don't really know the exact reason why Neil did it. We know he did. Maybe it was for money. Maybe it was to see how far he would go to work for the Lords. It is fair to say that if he passed the test, which it is clear he did, then Neil is very dangerous. He isn't the friend you once knew. I am sorry, Jesse. This is a dangerous game. The one ending to all these games is death. And that is a reality, the Rev said. So, if all you say is true, then what do we do? What about my mom? What about Marla and her kid? What about Marla's mom? How can they be safe? If what you say is true, then they must know that Marla is my girlfriend. What next? Jesse asked. Those are difficult questions, the Rev answered. Dave shut the lazy boy recliner and walked toward the kitchen. Ty got up and followed Dave. Jesse, we have them under surveillance now. It doesn't seem to be that they are in trouble. Your mom is owned. This is going to hurt, but she is an addict, Jesse. They control her through her addiction. As far as Marla and her family, well, I need to ask you something. Do you just want them here or do you think they need to be here? The Rev said as he grabbed a glass that was filled with iced tea and took a big gulp. Jesse just sighed. The reality was that he wanted Marla here. He really wanted Marla here. He had planned a week of romance and instead he is what seems to be 3 crazy guys and his dad. He just wanted life to go back to normal. He wanted to be alone in his truck. Drive when he wanted, sleep when he wanted and make those deliveries and make money. Make deliveries? Can't do that with a dead doctor. The top of the cake, the doctor was murdered and according to these psychos, Neil was the killer. Jesse ran his fingers through his hair. He broke the silence. I know I want Marla to live. And you think you can keep her safe, the Rev said. I can take care of myself, Jesse said. Oh yes, the Rev said. I saw the way you handled Dave, he said with a smile. He is some kind of psycho killer, Jesse said. The Rev got serious. Jesse, the Lords have people just as psycho as Dave and every bit as much of a killer. You need people like me, Dave, Ty, Trey, and Sally Joe. Jesse, this is a battle. This is a spiritual battle. Your dad understands this. Dave, Ty, and Trey think it is a battle of flesh and that is why they fight. They all have their own story. I have mine, you have yours and your dad has his. Your story drives you. Your story is truly just beginning. Yeah, Dad, you have a story? Your story drove us from you? No wait, it drove you from us, Jesse said. Gavin Wagner sat down in the lazy boy recliner once occupied by Dave. Son, I am not going to go over the reasons I already explained. But I want to tell you the rest of the story. I had a dream. What are you, Martin Luther King? Jesse said with sarcasm. Jesse, come on son, listen. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, Gavin said. Oh, the great philosopher, Jesse said. You know, you could learn a lot if you shut your pie hole, Dave interrupted as he re-entered the room. Dave took a seat in the rocker once occupied by Gavin. Listen, you little shit. Just listen. Jesse shook his head in frustration but knew an argument with the killer psycho would go nowhere. Jesse, as I said, I had this dream. It was so vivid. I believe it was more than a dream. I believe it was a vision. I know, I have never been spiritual before but when I got sober, it was like a new life. I can see things. Some things are figurative, and some things are true visions because they happen. I dream about them and then they happen. I totally get that you are going to have reservations about what I am saying but it is true. All of it. I was here and probably a year into sobriety, and I had this dream. It was clear that I was dead. I had died. I was standing looking at my own body and no one and absolutely no one was there. No one cared to attend my wake. I was sitting in the front row looking at myself in that box. Only I didn't look relaxed in that coffin. I was restless. I was squirming. My spirit would not let me die. Then I watched myself as I rose from the death container and a ladder slid down from the roof. At least, I thought it was the roof. I grabbed the first rung and then started climbing. The ladder was far above the roof. It kept stretching and I kept climbing. I got up and walked towards the ladder and watched from below as I climbed. I climbed for what seemed like hours. After climbing, I finally reached the top and at the tip of that ladder was God. It was heaven. I don't mean a figurative feeling of ecstasy, it was actual heaven. God looked at me and simply said that I wasn't welcome. Suddenly, the ladder was gone, and I began falling. I was picking up speed as I dropped, and then just as I was reaching the pinnacle of the fall, and then I woke up. I knew it was the way it ends. It was my ending. I needed to change my ending. Thanks to the Rev, I changed my ending. I am using my visions to help the Shield. They follow what I see, and God never gives me a fake vision. God is real, Jesse, Gavin concluded. Jesse turned and looked at the Reverend. The Rev nodded. Jesse then looked across at Ty leaning against the door frame. Ty nodded as well. Jesse then looked at Dave, who was rocking. Dave spoke, "It's true, I like apples." Dave burst out laughing and the rest joined him. Chapter 11: The Dawn. Jesse could smell the bacon and fresh baked rolls. His stomach began to growl as the smell permeated his nostrils. He realized that he hadn't eaten a true home-cooked meal in days. Not since Marla's mom had cooked a Sunday meal. He had been eating Vienna sausage and potted meat. His cooler required ice, and it became more than he wanted to work at to keep things cold. He would buy fresh meat and cook in the wok. But this smelled amazing. He slipped on his jeans and tossed on a shirt. He walked out into the dining room. He didn't know the person in the kitchen who was making this special fragranced extravaganza. "Morning, I'm Sally Joe, and do not think that I do this all the time. I am cooking because I wanted this meal, and Dave and his cronies specialize in oatmeal and toast," she said with a bit of a frown. "I'm Jesse Wagner. I think I am being held against my will," he said with a sly smile. Sally Joe was beautiful. She had wavy, no more like fluffy blonde hair and blue eyes. She was curvy, and all the curves were in the right spot. She was probably 45 or so. He thought that she was probably super hot in her younger years. "Ah, Dave and the Rev found you. You are Gavin's son. I didn't know they found you. They are all gone. Not sure where they are. SOO, I suppose if you wish to make a run for it, now is your best chance," Sally Joe said as she took fresh baked rolls from the oven. "Of course, you will miss out on these rolls, scrambled eggs, gravy, and of course this crispy bacon," Sally Joe retorted. "Sounds like an offer I can't refuse," Jesse said as he did his best Brando. "I can probably get away tomorrow." They both chuckled. That sat down to eat, and Jesse began to gobble down the food. Sally Joe was pleased. "Quite the appetite there." "I guess so. I didn't even realize how hungry I was. This is, well, phenomenal." "I thank you so much," Jesse said. "So, probably pretty pissed at your dad," Sally Joe said. "No doubt. He kinda thinks that one evening of attempted reconciliation makes it all better." "I can't just forgive and forget," Jesse said. "It will kill you," Sally Joe said, "the festering hate against someone you actually love." "Love? What do you mean?" Jesse said. "I can see it. You love him. That is why you are so hurt," Sally Joe said as she wiped her lips with a napkin. "You are right, this is phenomenal." "Maybe. I suppose you are right. I wouldn't be angry if he was a jag," Jesse said. "Jag?" Sally Joe inquired. "Jag. You know, just a guy," Jesse said. "Awesome slang, Sally Joe, acronym. Clever. You know, he is a good person. He is a good person who did bad things. Some of them with knowledge and some of them without any knowledge. You never realized that those drugs you were delivering were destroying those people. For what? Money? What? How was I?" Jesse said. "You were delivering OxyContin. I know you thought it was a water pill. It wasn't. See, you can be a good person and do bad things without knowledge," Sally Joe said. "Are you kidding?" "I would never do that on purpose," Jesse said. Sally Joe nodded, "And now you know." They finished their breakfast and Jesse helped do all the dishes with Sally Joe. They continued to chat, and Jesse found Sally Joe to be so friendly. "Dave said you are a killer," Jesse said. Sally Joe laughed. "Is that a question? If it is, you don't want to know." They sat down in the living room and continued their conversation. There was a lot of talk about Jesse and his hopes and dreams. Sally Joe wanted to know all about Marla. Jesse felt a sense of pride when he called Marla his girlfriend. "She sounds wonderful," Sally Joe said. Sally Joe showed some things to Jesse on the internet. Things that she had called part of the Lord's. They seemed like conspiracy theories to him. Maybe they were real, but people with tinfoil hats say that stuff all the time. Jesse walked into the kitchen to get himself a Coke. "You want one?" he called to Sally Joe. "Bring me a Sprite," she said, and then he heard her say, "Oh hey, you guys are back." Jesse walked back into the living room, and then froze. There stood Marla, Heaven, and Maria, Marla's mother. "Don't just stand there like a mannequin. Give the girl a kiss," Dave said, and then he broke into that annoying chuckle. Chapter 12: The Visit. Jesse Wagner rose and walked over, gave Marla a quick kiss on the lips but a very long hug. He then gave Marla's mother a hug and gave a fist bump to Heaven. "I can't believe you are here," Jesse said. He turned and looked at the Rev. How? And why?" Dave answered, "You asked Lover Boy, and we talked it over and collectively we agreed. We need to get everyone together that may be a target of the Lord's until we know for sure who they are after and who they might target." The Rev joined in the conversation. "They will be safer here until we can establish all those answers." "Wait? The Lord's? What are you guys talking about? You said that we were going to spend some time in the woods with Jesse. All of you are staying here?" "Is my daughter safe?" Marla said. Sally Joe walked over and put her arm around Marla. "You are safe, and let's just all settle down and relax." Marla seemed to have a sudden thought. "This has something to do with the doctor, doesn't it? They are saying you killed him, Jesse." "I didn't kill him," Jesse said. "Well, I know that. I didn't say that I thought you killed him. You know people and the sheriff, they are looking for you. I came here to make sure you are safe and to tell you that you can't come back." "I am not sure that we can go back," Marla said. "You aren't going back," Jesse said. Dave broke in. "I can't say I agree with the little greaseball very often, but in this case, I believe he is right. You need to stay here so we can protect your mom and daughter along with you." "You think they would come for us?" Marla said. "They will do whatever it takes to get to me or my son," Gavin said. Marla seemed to be content for the time being. "Let me show you around and take you to a room," Sally Joe said. The rest of the afternoon, Marla, her mother, Sally Joe, and Dave cooked a large supper. Jesse was surprised that a man like Dave could find himself around the kitchen. They were preparing a huge pot of spaghetti using hamburger and venison. Both meats were provided by Dave. Jesse understood the venison, but he still wasn't sure where the hamburger had come from. He knew cows, but did Dave hunt a cow? That thought gave him a smile. All of them gathered around the table for a large family-type dinner of salad, spaghetti, and Marla's mother made 2 large pans of brownies. There was lots of conversation about family and topics that didn't include why they were hiding, and thank goodness, Jesse thought, nothing about the Lords of Brimstone. Later in the evening, after Marla had gotten Heaven to sleep, she and Jesse sat on the back porch and talked. "You know, I don't really know what love is," Jesse said, "but I know that I feel strongly for you. But all this right now, I don't even know what to say." Marla grabbed Jesse's hand. "I know. These days without you have been hard. I know that I missed you greatly. I also know that we are young, and I made a terrible decision before. I mean, I got Heaven, my little piece of heaven," Marla said with a chuckle, "but other than her, the whole thing was a disaster." They just sat and held hands and talked, and it was a wonderful evening. "I need to get to bed," Marla said. She leaned over and kissed Jesse hard. "Good night," Marla said. "Good night," Jesse said. Chapter 13: The Attack. The morning arrived, and slowly everyone began to rise. They all gathered in the living room when Dave said, "Donuts in the kitchen. I bought them in town yesterday." They ate and sat around discussing what could be done. What was the plan? They couldn't just sit here forever, could they? They were going to have to put together a plan to get them moving. "We have to separate at some point. We can't have all of us in the same place for too long," the Rev said. "True," Sally Joe agreed. Ty, who hadn't said much the last 2 days and by nature isn't as talkative as his twin Trey, said, "I will take the family. Marla, her mother, and Heaven can go with me. I will drive the van. Trey has his place in the woods across the nation. They will be safe there." "No, I want to be with them," Jesse said. Gavin spoke, "Son, let them do their job." "He is right," the Rev said, "let Ty get them hidden. They can stay with the twins for a while. At least until Sir tells us our next steps. I will take Gavin and the pipsqueak. There is an SUV hidden in the barn. We will connect with Jenkins Roth. He has the money to keep us hidden until we know the next step," Dave said. "Me and Sally Joe are supposed to be in France on Sunday," the Rev said. "We all need to leave tonight. Get your things packed. There is a list in the top drawer under the microwave. There are bug-out bags for everyone that doesn't have one located in the closet between the room Marla's family and Jesse are staying. We need to get packed," Dave said with urgency. "We have to make the assumption that the Lords are looking for us." "Agreed," the Rev said. "Everyone know what to do?" Everyone agreed, though some of them reluctantly. They all spent the next few minutes getting their bags packed. They all reconvened in the living room. "We need to leave in the next few minutes," the Rev said. "Everyone grab a sandwich. There is lunch meat and cheese in the fridge. Eat and then we start moving. We all say our goodbyes and go." "Agreed?" "Yes," Dave said as the others started moving to the kitchen. Jesse and Marla again moved onto the back porch to eat. "I don't know how long it will be before we see each other again," Marla said. I am going to miss you." "Marla. Marla? I think I do love you," Jesse said. He grabbed Marla by the hand and walked toward the woods. Once they were in the woods, he turned toward Marla and kissed her deeply. He let his hand slip up her shirt and she moaned. It had been so long since a man had touched her. She let her hands drop to Jesse's growing groin. "Jesse," Gavin hollered for them. "Shit. You gotta be kidding me," Jesse said. "It is time," Gavin said. "Come on, lover boy," Dave said. Gavin stepped off the back porch and into the grass. A shot rang from the woods. Gavin dropped to his knees as blood trickled from the exit wound in the back of his head. "What the hell?" Dave screamed. Dave ran inside, shots fired. The Rev heard the shot and was already armed and sliding to the side of the house. Jesse and Marla laid down under brush as another shot rang out and spilt a small branch behind them. Jesse moved to the top of Marla and covered her the best he could. Another shot rang and it was close enough that Jesse heard the wind as it whistled past. Dave, now armed heavily, was emerging on the roof after passing through a secret trap door beside the chimney. He laid on his stomach and looked through the scope. Sally Joe called for Marla's mother in heaven. She led them to a safe room inside the room where she had been staying. "We will be safe in here." "Hurry," she said. They all entered the safe room and Sally Joe entered a secret code to lock the door. "Where's my mommy?" Heaven said. "She will be safe," Sally Joe said. "The Rev and Dave will get her." Ty looked out a side window. He slid it open slowly and stuck the end of a .22 rifle out the window. He looked through a scope much like Dave. The Rev was now on his belly as he squinted to try and see where the shots were coming from. Bang! Another shot rang and pieces of brick broke from the chimney. "Well, that was a mistake," Dave whispered. "You just gave me your 20. Dave squinted and looked in his scope. He was certain he could see a shadow as he took a breath and slowly squeezed the trigger. The shot pushed him slightly down the slope of the roof. "Damn it," a voice yelled from the woods. Ty looked closely and followed as the brush began to rustle. He followed the movement of the brush. He tried to time his shot. He pulled the trigger. The brush made a massive movement as he thought he could hear a body fall into the bushes. The Rev stood and walked slowly toward the woods. He went toward the areas where Ty and Dave had fired. Dave slid down the slope of the roof and dropped down the 10 feet off the roof, landing in the shrubbery. "Damn, that was stupid," Dave said. Ty walked out the back door. The Rev fired his pistol. He had found the victim of Dave's shot and he was gasping for air. But he wasn't any longer. Ty moved slowly toward where he had shot. An off-target shot toward Ty hitting the ground just in front of Ty. Ty dropped to the ground and rolled to the left. Dave got onto one knee. He whispered, "These dumbasses do not learn." He squeezed the trigger once more and the shooting stopped. Ty walked toward the would-be assassin. He saw him on the ground. One shot to shoulder and a shot through the right eye socket. "How the hell does he do it?" Ty said. The Rev found Jesse and Marla. "Come on. We leave now." They nodded and got to their feet. Marla broke into a sprint as she was running into the house. "Heaven," she yelled. Sally Jo entered the code and the door slid open. "Mommy," Heaven yelled as she jumped into her mother's arms. Dave opened the front door as Marla screamed. It's okay," Dave said. Jesse got to the living room and Marla and Heaven both fell into his arms. "We go, now," the Rev said. The van drove to the front door and the Rev walked out and slid the door open. "Get in." Marla tossed Heaven into the van. Ty opened the passenger door and Marla's mother got into the van and sat down. Marla turned in Jesse in the front yard. She blew him a kiss and got in beside Heaven. "Fasten your belt, baby," she said. They were gone. Chapter 14, Leaving the Scene. "We gotta go," Dave said. Jesse had walked around to the back of the house and was looking at the body of his father. He stood over the dead Gavin Wagner and was in a trance. He didn't budge. Dave walked around to the line of sight of Jesse Wagner. "Jesse, we have to go. We can't just leave him here." "I mean, what happens now?" Jesse said as his gaze drifted from the body to Dave and then back again to the blood-soaked body of his father. Dave stepped to Jesse and put a hand on his back. "The Rev and Sally Jo will clean up. There are 2 bodies in the woods, they will take care of it. But you and I, we got to go," Dave said as he turned Jesse's body so Jesse was looking into his eyes. Jesse didn't exactly agree, but Dave took Jesse by the arm and led him to the barn in the back. He swung the door open and revealed a dark-colored Jeep. "Get in, Jesse," Dave said. Dave grabbed the keys from the console and started the Jeep quickly. "Buckle up. I have no idea if there are more of them out there." "Who?" Jesse asked as he snapped his seatbelt in place. "Them," Dave answered, nodding his head toward the woods. "We killed 2. I am sure there are more coming. They took care of Gavin and now they need you." The Jeep rumbled as Dave waved at the Rev as he stepped onto the front porch and nodded. Dave steered the Jeep rapidly down the gravel drive, turning right onto the semi-paved country road. The tires squealed as Dave revved the engine and quickly got the Jeep up to 60 miles per hour. The Jeep bumped and bounced as it seemingly didn't miss any of the holes in the road. Jesse stared forward as he struggled to get the image of his father, and a lump on the ground was hard to shed from his mind. Dave patted Jesse on the knee. "I know," he said, "I know." "How could you?" Jesse said. Dave didn't respond. He let Jesse have his moment. Jesse shut his eyes and slowly drifted to sleep. Jesse wasn't sure how long he had been asleep when he squinted into the sun and looked for signs. It was clear that the Jeep was motoring down an interstate. He looked out the side window and spoke. "So, they just leave the keys in the console? Seems unsafe." Dave chuckled. "Well, someone stealing our cars is the least of our worries. It's survival first, killing second, and then worry about the car." Jesse spoke. "So who are these people?" "That is a hard question, but lucky for you, we have a long drive. It is time to truly educate you," Dave said as he patted Jesse's knee again. "An education is what you are going to get." Chapter 15, Time to Teach. The people, or the them as you refer to them, is the Lords of Brimstone. It is a multi-fingered organization. We are still learning about them every day. Literally every day. We do know that there is a man by the name of Serge Antopoulos at the top. He is a multimillionaire from the Greece region. He is very visible, but he is not approachable. "Trust me, if I could get to him, I would eliminate him," Dave said. "Eliminate him?" Jesse said, knowing what the answer would be. "I think you know," Dave said. Jesse nodded. They use all these different fingers to control as much of the people's everyday life as possible. The most important thing they do is control the media. They use this control to influence elections. People are easily influenced. It starts with education. You just got out of school. Think about it, even if your teacher doesn't believe in what they have to teach, you know in order for the student to pass the test. And, of course, who provides the test? The government. So, the lords need certain people in the right governmental positions to control the aspects that they need controlled. It isn't like the boogeyman. This is a well-oiled machine. The tail that wags the dog is Virginia Tulsa. I have no idea who that is, Jesse said. Oh, you have seen her. She lurks in the background. She is an attractive woman. She remakes people's image. She is an image influencer. She takes people that may have some negative opinions in society and shapes their image to get society to change their opinions. She is invaluable. She can take that athlete or entertainer who is accused of some vicious crime and paint them in a way that makes society suddenly like them. Think Vic Michaels, the NFL running back. This man drowned dogs. What a piece of shit. Right? But then after a while, he is on the TV making millions and people try and compare him to Barry Sanders. This guy wasn't even that great of a player. How do you change the image? You control the media. But it isn't just about entertainers or athletes. Where Virginia Tulsa really makes her money is by controlling the media. She gets the media to focus on things that either don't matter or they choose to paint bad situations in a good light. She is good. She does a great job. You must respect what she does even if you hate what she does. We do believe that she may help in sex trafficking. But I will talk more on that later. So, are you going to kill her? Jesse said. Dave laughed. You don't mess around when you wake up, do you? It wouldn't be the worst thing if I did. If you are killing people, how are you better than them? Jesse said. Dave rolled down his window and spit out a gob of gum. That is legit. What stops us from being them? Well, we aren't kidnapping little children. We aren't praying to Satan. We aren't involved in the drug trade. That is what makes us different, Dave said. So, you guys are like Christians? Jesse asked. Some. The Rev definitely is. So is Bucky. You don't know him. We are a cross-reference of society. Some are Christians, some are agnostic, and some are searching. I can assure you though, none, and I mean none, are Satanists or demonic. They are doing some creepy shit, Dave said. So which one are you? Jesse asked. Searching. I know there is a creator. Am I ready to admit to the Christian God? Unsure. I listen to the Reverend. The Rev makes me know that it is okay to be myself. It is okay to search. The Rev always says, God can wait on you. He doesn't have anywhere to go, Dave said with a chuckle. Do you get scared? Jesse said. That is a great question. My fear comes afterwards. Like back at the house and those shots rang out. I just did what I'm trained to do. I jumped to action. I knew it was kill or be killed. I must protect my brothers. I had to protect my brother's family. But once the shooting stopped, that is when you realize that you want to live. You can feel your heart in your throat. But you calm yourself. What keeps you going is your belief. I am willing to die to advance the cause. Those in the Lord's? Some of them don't really believe it. They just go for the money and notoriety. Sally Joe used to be part of the Lord's, but she came to our side, Dave said. Why? Jesse asked. Nope, That is her story, not mine. You can ask her when you see her again, Dave said. Dave exited the interstate and drove for around 45 minutes before taking the Jeep back into a wooded area and parked. This is it for the night, he said. Here, Jesse said. Yep. I will build a fire in the walk in the back. Get it out and we will eat a couple of dogs. You like hot dogs, right? You bet I do, Jesse said. Chapter 16, An Evening Lesson. Jesse and Dave ate 3 hot dogs apiece and then sat around as the fire began to die. "So, I want to ask," Jesse said. Dave grunted. "Do these lords really control the government?" Dave leaned back against a tree. "I am not sure control is the right word. Maybe, greatly influence. They do control many, and I mean many of the lobbyists, therefore, they control the people who have the greatest influence on government. It trickles down, and people like Virginia Tulsa and Kaylee Waters help make it happen." "Kaylee Waters?" "The TikTok girl," Jesse said. Dave gave a crooked smile. "You have seen her, huh?" "For sure, Kaylee Waters. Cute 20-year-old. Curvy and half-dressed. She has all those little ads all the time, and most people don't truly listen to what she is saying. They get lost in the sex, dances, and giddy personality, but she is paid to influence the young and those that don't think. Remember, the uninformed electorate are the easiest to influence. We dumb down education, and the young people listen to people who can dance more than the experienced who may know something." "Wow," Jesse said. "You old fogies all think you know it all," Jesse said with a jab at Dave. "I am only 26. A very weathered 26-inch, Dave said with a laugh. "So how do you combat that?" Jesse said. "We try and learn. It isn't easy. We currently have a guy named Bucky Meeks. Bucky is a computer genius. He monitors all this stuff, all the time. He is concerned that with artificial intelligence, the worst is yet to come. What if the lords figure a way to have AI vote? You won't have to worry about late-night votes that swing elections. You will have elections completely decided by what the computer thinks you would do as a voter. Can you imagine? Some nerd techie is sitting in a cubicle and deciding the vote. That is unbelievable," Jesse said. "So why even keep trying to stop these guys? Sounds like a losing battle." Dave tilted his head. "You don't quit just because it seems like you can't win. You keep trying. It sounds silly, but one day at a time and one battle at a time." Jesse felt himself slipping into sleep. Dave tucked his hands under his arm and allowed himself to drift off to sleep. Dave was startled awake. He looked up and saw a dark figure, morning sweet cheeks, and then he felt a sharp blow into the side of his head as everything went black. Chapter 17: The Escape. Dave could feel the matted blood in his hair as he squeezed his eyes open. "Well, good morning, sweetie pie," the man standing in front of him said. "Ah, Monk, how you doing?" "Good to see you again," Dave said. He grunted as he realized his hands were tied behind his back. He looked and could see a large goon just to the side of Jesse and a smaller guy holding Jesse at bay. Jesse was squirming. The man that Dave referred to as Monk had a patch over his right eye. "Where's the girl?" Monk said. Dave groaned. "And what girl is that?" The goon then punched Jesse in the gut. Jesse almost dropped to his knees as the wind blew out of his body. Okay, why do you need the girl?" Dave asked. "She took something that belonged to us," Monk said. "She felt it important to take a thumb drive with many names." Jesse tried to squirm loose, and the big goon punched him squarely in the mouth, exploding Jesse's lip. Jesse could feel the blood running down his chin. Jesse could also feel the anger swelling inside of him. "Come on, man. He is a kid. Come over here and beat on me, shitbird," Dave said. The goon then popped Jesse in the rib cage. Jesse felt like a rib shattered. "I am going to get loose and remove that other eye out of your head, and I am going to eat it with eggs. Huevos con ocular globe." "How uncouth," Monk said. "Unfortunately, my mama didn't raise any couth babies, just ugly babies," Dave said. "Enough of this. Where is the girl?" Monk said. The goon spun to punch Jesse again. Jesse raised his work boot and slammed it into the shin of the skinny one holding him. He lid the boot down his leg and stomped the skinny man's toes. The goon swung wildly. Jesse spun the skinny man and threw him as hard as he could. "Son of a bitch," the skinny man said as he slid on the ground and unfortunately for him landed at the feet of Dave. Dave lifted his boot and ripped onto the face of the skinny man, connecting just above the bridge of his nose. Blood squirted as he groaned. The boot split his head wide open. The goon grabbed Jesse and tried to squeeze the life from him. Jesse was moving violently as his feet were lifted off the ground. Jesse was scrounging in his pants pocket and felt his hand wrap around the Swiss Army knife in his pocket. Jesse kicked at the goon. Jesse stabbed the goon and hit him in the testicles. It was as high as his hands could go. "Shit!" exclaimed the goon as his grip loosened. Jesse then sprung his right hand free and jabbed the rusty Swiss knife into the temple of the goon. The goon dropped as the knife was sticking from his temple. He kicked the goon in the face, and he toppled to the ground. Everything stopped as a gunshot rang out. "Who the hell brings a tiny knife to a gunfight?" Monk said. He held a pistol above his head. Jesse could feel fear rise in his belly. He looked past Monk and spotted Dave. "I do," Dave said as he plunged a knife into Monk's spine. He dropped the gun immediately. Monk tried to reach and pull the knife from his back as Dave kicked the gun away. "A knife can be very effective," Dave said with a laugh. He kicked Monk in the hip, causing him to groan openly as it spun him to his back. "You can't just leave me here," Monk said. Those were the last words he spoke as Jesse stabbed the knife into Monk's larynx. Blood began to pour out of his throat. "Damn boy," Dave said. "How the hell did you get loose?" Jesse asked. "Old ancient trick," Dave said with a chuckle. "I will show you sometime. But right now, we leave, again." Jesse nodded as he could taste his own blood. Dave and Jesse jumped into the Jeep and it had no power. Dave jumped out and looked under the hood. The cables to the battery were cut. Not removed, cut. Dave nodded to the car beside the Jeep, their car. Dave got on his hands and knees and found a GPS transponder. He walked over and put it in the mouth of Monk. Dave and Jesse got in the small car. "What kind of assassin drives a Prius?" Dave said. "A dead one," Jesse cracked. Dave laughed hard. "We are going to get along just fine, pretty boy." Dave started the Prius and he and Jesse were headed back on the road. "You killed 2 men, Dave said as looked at Jesse. "I guess I did," Jesse said. "Guess you have some of your own secrets," Dave said. Jesse wiped the blood from his mouth. "I have a bit of an anger problem." "Actually, I think they had a problem with your anger," as Dave laughed again. Jesse realized he wasn't as annoyed by Dave's laugh as he was prior. They heard a phone ringing. They both began to look around and Jesse realized the phone was under his seat. He picked it up and handed it to Dave. Dave grunted, "Yo." The phone was connected to the Bluetooth in the Prius and Jesse could hear the voice on the other end. "Are they dead?" the voice asked. "Yep, all 3 of them," Dave answered. There was a pause. Then the voice spoke, "Mr. Duncan, I presume." "Sure, and who is this?" Dave asked. "It doesn't matter," the voice replied. "Oh, you are that kind of jackass. You ask for a BJ from the girl, and you don't return the favor. You are one of those," Dave said. "Very uncouth, Mr. Duncan," the voice said. "You know, I have heard that before," Dave said. Jesse began to giggle. "I guess Dave isn't that bad," he thought. "We will find you Mr. Duncan and that little girl with the thumb drive," the voice said. "Maybe, but not today," Dave said. "The GPS transponder you had on this car is currently being chewed by Mr. Monk. And the phone is on the way out the window," Dave said as he glanced at his watch. "Until we meet in person, Mr. Mercer, is it?" "Very astute," Mr. Mercer replied as Dave rolled down his window and threw the phone out onto the road. Jesse turned and looked at Dave. "I was getting bored," Dave said. They both started laughing and Dave turned onto the interstate as the sun began to set. Chapter 18: The Thumb Drive. Ty pulled the van into a truck stop. He felt it was time to make a switch with the vehicle. It was a gut feeling he had. He wasn't sure, but there was a semi-truck that followed them for several miles. Could it be a coincidence? Unlikely. Ty saw a family pull in front of him. They were driving a Toyota Camry. He followed the father into the restroom. They struck up an awkward conversation at the urinal. "You like your Camry?" Ty asked. "It's okay," the man replied. "Listen, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I would like to give you $30,000 for the car right now. You can have my van, Ty told him. I don't think so, the man said. Look, I'm not being an asshole. But if I want your car, I will take it. But I am willing to give you $30,000. Just think, $30K, Ty said. Are you threatening me? The man asked. I feel I need to contact security. Okay. It's all good, Ty said. Ty left the restroom and went into the convenience area. Hey Marla, where's your mom? Ty asked. She was right here. She probably just went to the restroom, Marla replied. Ty was frustrated. I told you guys to stick together. We have to go. Marla spoke. Okay, I will check the restroom. No. Come on. I will get you in the car and I will come back and get her, Ty said. Ty and Marla walked into the parking lot with Heaven under Marla's arm. Hustle, Ty said. Ty led them to the Toyota Camry. This isn't our van, Marla said. Get in, Ty said forcefully. This isn't our car, Mommy, Heaven said. Just get in, Marla said. Ty ran to the van and grabbed a backpack. Marla had never seen it before. Where's your mother? Ty said. Looking for her, the voice said. Ty looked up and saw a man holding Marla's mother. He had one arm around the woman's neck and held a knife in his left hand. Give me the thumb drive, the man said. Marla sat covering Heaven's eyes as she began to cry. Let her go and I will get it, Ty said. You know it doesn't work like that, the man said. Marla told Heaven to keep her eyes shut. Marla stepped out of the Camry. I have it, Marla said. Please let my mom go, Marla pled with the man. The family that owned the Camry walked out of the truck stop with a bag of snacks for the drive. This is getting ugly, man, Ty said. Let's just handle this. Me and you. I'm not stupid. I know who you are, Ty or Trey. Not sure which, but I know what you are like, the man said. What is going on here? Should I get security? The man that owned the Camry said as his family stood behind him and peeked around his arms. Ty backed to the man without taking his eyes off the man holding Marla's mother. Take this bag from me and go back inside, Ty said. The man paused and responded, but... Do it now, Ty said. The man took the bag and the family scurried back into the truck stop. Marla held the thumb drive in her hand. You can have it, Marla said. Ty yelled, Marla, don't do it. Marla handed the thumb drive to the man. Ty shut his eye and whispered, shit, Marla. The man took the thumb drive and then took the knife and slit the throat of Marla's mother. Marla screamed. Ty dropped to a knee and grabbed a K-bar from his boot and in one motion fired the K-bar into the throat of the man now holding the thumb drive. The man grasped at his throat as blood squirted through his fingers. He tried to gasp air, but it was a losing cause. Marla ran to her mother. Marla's mother had collapsed onto the sidewalk. Marla was shaking and crying uncontrollably. Ty grabbed Marla under her arms and physically drug her to the Camry. Take care of Heaven now, Ty said calmly. Marla spilled into the back seat by Heaven and leaned over Heaven and cried as Heaven asked, Mommy, what happened? Ty sprinted to the man and retrieved the thumb drive and took the K-bar from the man's throat. The man still gasping pled with Ty, kill me. Ty shook his head no. Ty picked up the knife the man had used to kill Marla's mother. Kill yourself, Ty said. Ty ran back to the Camry and jumped in. He reached under the dash and hot-wired the Camry. He dropped it into reverse and quickly to drive and spun the tires as he hurried out of the truck stop parking lot. Chapter 19 Ty teaches Marla. Ty, Marla, and Heaven hurried down the road in silence for more than an hour. The only noise was the occasional sobbing and sniffing of Marla or Heaven. Heaven had fallen asleep not more than 10 minutes ago when Marla broke the silence, so what do we do now? Ty spoke, we head to my brother's cabin and restock and then I take you into Canada. It will keep you hidden for a month or so and by then we should have a handle on this thumb drive you have. What is on the thumb drive? Marla said. Not sure, but I know they really want it. You don't know what is on the thing, Ty asked. I opened it because I thought it might have information on patients of the doctor. It was after he was murdered. I was making calls to his most loyal patients and letting them know personally. Most of them were older and I had a legitimately close relationship with them. I wanted them to hear it from me, you know. So, I started calling and I was opening his files as some of the people were requesting that files be emailed to them, you know, so they could have them for their new doctors and specialists. Not sure how legal, but at that point with the doctor murdered, what did it matter? I opened the file, and it was encrypted. I figured that is why he died. I stupidly took it, Marla said as she sniffled. If it is encrypted, then we need to get it to Bucky. They probably assume that is where we are headed. But we aren't. We will go to Trey's and let him take you to Canada and I will get the thumb drive to Bucky, Ty said, but we will need to make another car switch, soon. Who are these people? Why kill my mother? Marla said as she started crying again. They have zero concern for people's lives. They kill to get what they want and occasionally what they need. They do so without impunity, Ty said. But she was an old lady, and I gave them thumb drive, Marla said. You didn't listen, Marla. They don't care. Zero, and I mean zero concern for people. They have their fingers in so many pies. What are a few lives to try and advance their cause, Ty said. And what is their cause? Marla asked. The cause is the Lords of Brimstone. They are a bunch of very bad people. I'm not even sure if bad describes them. We can play like the $20,000 pyramid. Despicable, horrendous, horrible, soul suckers, killers, rapists, Satanists, you get the point, Ty said. Are they politicians? Marla asked of Ty. I said, horrible and soul suckers, so self-explanatory, Ty said with a laugh. They are politicians, entertainers, industrialists, doctors, lawyers, common people who get sucked into their power. It can be anybody. So, you live on the run all the time? Marla said. Of course not. Only when I am protecting pretty women and cute offspring, Ty said. Sometimes, I am doing the chasing. And well, sometimes, I just sit around and wait on someone like Sir to tell me what to do. Marla quizzed, Sir? Like a general or something. That is his title, you call him Sir? No, Sir is his name. I guess if I were in the FBI or something, or he would be my handler, Ty replied. So, are you military? Marla asked. Probably the less you know about people like me, Trey, Dave, Bucky, Sally Joe or Jenkins the better. In this case knowledge can be dangerous. I will tell you just one thing, I used to be a mercenary, Ty said. I spent most of my time in Africa. So, you can keep me safe? In heaven, Marla said through suppressed sobs. You are alive, aren't you? Ty said. But my mother, Marla said. I told you to stay together. He couldn't take all three of you without using a gun, and a gun would be a tad obvious in a truck stop, Ty said. So, I knew if they were there, they would have to use a knife or taser or something, and no way can they tase three of you or hold a knife to three of you, so, stay together. So, strength in numbers, Marla replied to Ty. He simply nodded. Chapter 20 The Division of People. Jesse Wagner and Dave Duncan were now riding in a flatbed train car. So, this is a first for me, Jesse said to Dave. Jumping a train? Dave said. Well, yes, Jesse said. I suppose you do this all the time? Jesse asked. What do you think, I'm like Boxcar Willie or something? Dave said. Who? Was Jesse's response. Kids, Dave said to no one in particular. They rode in silence for a few minutes when Jesse broke the mode. What is the plan now? Because I am certain that we are going the same direction that we came from earlier. I think we are backtracking, Jesse said. Not backtracking. Crisscrossing. Many times, you just crisscross and the Lords will give up and regroup and then come back. While they regroup, we do too. If they keep coming, it gives me time to get a new plan, Dave said. Right now, the plan is to get you to someone who has the money to hide you for more than a few days. Who? Jesse asked. Soon, Jester, soon, Dave said. I got to ask a question, Jesse said. Dave nodded as if to give the go-ahead. If these Lords guys can influence and there are people who can decipher their treachery, why don't we the people do something about it? Dave raised his eyebrows and then spoke, legit concern. Now you are thinking, Jester. The Lords are masters at dividing the people. They get all these side scuffles going within we the people. Think about it, we had the Tea Party and the other Republicans didn't want them to succeed. Why? Then you have the MAGA folks, and the media made them look like racists. How? By having them attack BLM. Do you really think all MAGA folks are racist? By the same token, do you think all BLM folks hate white people? Jesse shook his head no. Exactly, but it is easy to make it look that way. You get a few influencers to push it in social media and boom. You have people sharing misinformation and giving thumbs up on their Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and suddenly the people are busy fighting each other instead of addressing the real enemy. They do it easily and quite frankly, Big J Dog, they do it very well, Dave said. They even infiltrate the church. They get everyone in the church to hate anyone that does not agree with their principles. But people within the church can't even decide which denomination is right or most right. Why do churches even need denominations? It doesn't come from God, it comes from man. The church divides over homosexuality, abortion, welfare, should church be on Sunday or Saturday, should we give gifts on birthdays, do we honor the country's laws? It is insane. Why doesn't the church just focus on loving each other? God's greatest commandment is love one another, right? So why the hate? Dave said. Wow, that is some deep thought, Jesse said. I actually have a thought every now and then, Dave said with a chuckle. My thought right now is time to jump. Dave stood and walked toward the edge of the train car. He strapped the backpack on and turned and looked at Jesse. Strap on, boys, and don't forget to roll. Dave jumped and hit the ground with a thump. He rolled down into the ditch and turned to see Jesse land and give a slight scream. He chuckled. Chapter 21 Attack the Family. You okay, Jester? Dave said as he stuck his hand out to help Jesse up from the ground. Shit. I thought I broke my foot, Jesse said. You know what, though, damn, that was exhilarating, Jesse added. Where are we? Any idea? If I am correct, we are somewhere in Nebraska, Dave said. So, what do we do? Jesse said. Dave looked around. See that barn? Jesse looked and put his hands over his eyes to shield the sun. That one like 5 miles away? I am sure it isn't that far away. But yep. If there is a barn, then there is likely a farm. If there is a farm, then there likely is a farmhouse. If there is a farmhouse, then there is likely a farmer. We approach the farmer and buy a truck and then on the road again, Dave sang. I don't think I would quit my day job, Jesse said. What if I don't have a job at all? Dave said with a chuckle. Let's go, Dave said. The two began walking through a field of grain. Dave estimated the barn was probably 3 miles or so. He figured they could get there in 90 minutes or less. As they walked, Dave spoke, You know how to shoot a gun? Jesse was taken aback by the question, and he gave a double take. I have shot a gun before. Not sure that constitutes knowing how to shoot a gun like you are asking. I assume you mean like truly shooting to kill. We will have to fix that, Dave said. In due time, of course. You know, Jesse, I liked your dad. I was a good man. Jesse looked down at the ground as he was walking. He wasn't a good dad. He was better than he seemed. He did what he had to do to keep you safe, Dave said. How did that work out? Here I am walking through a field with a killer, Jesse said. True, but I don't kill innocent people, Dave said, laughing. Think about it though. You got yourself into this. Your dad didn't. You chose to work for these guys. Once we found out it was you working for the doctors, we started watching over you. We did it for him. You are saying this is my fault, Jesse said with a sarcastic laugh. You took the job for the money. You could have been a better student or gotten a job at Arby's, whatever. Water under the bridge now. You literally are saying what the Lords would want you to say, Dave said. What do you mean? Jesse said, raising his voice a bit. Settle down. Your response is exactly what they want. They want kids to hate their dads. It is one of their techniques. Division within the family. Even television shows tend to make the dad out as a giant dope. Think about how it changed from Leave It to Beaver to Married with Children. Changes from dad is the one that is wise to dad is a no-good loser. It establishes that kids don't need to respect their dads. I am not saying every dad is good, everyone knows that, but all dads aren't bad either. Even child protection services are guilty of this. If they can get the dad out of the house, it makes it easier to get that kid in their system. Easy to get the kid in the system, virtually impossible to get the kid out of the system. A kid ages out, can't get a job, and boom. All hell breaks loose, Dave said. Kind of like me? I end up finding easy money, right, delivering drugs? No dad, no job, yada, yada, right, Jesse said. You are learning, young grasshopper, doing his best kung fu accent. The more they can divide, the more they can seem like the ones that are providing the stability. The government tries to fill the role of father or mother. They fill the role of management within a job. They make us mask in lockdown. They make us pay taxes. They make us follow laws that they may or may not follow themselves. It is all so sketchy. One day, I started questioning, and before I knew it, I was knee-deep in a shithole. The Shield provided me a hand. I am former Special Forces, Jesse. I have done things unthinkable, unimaginable, but I did it for my brothers and for my country. I still love and believe in my country, I just don't trust the people running it, Dave said. The barn was only about 100 yards away, when they heard a tractor coming their direction. Jesse and Dave stood still and watched as the John Deere approached. Howdy boys, the farmer called. He geared down the tractor but still sat on the seat. Sir, we are sorry, we are trespassing, Dave said. Our car broke down and we are trying to cut across country. We saw the barn and thought we could take shelter until we could use our phones to figure out our next steps. We are truly sorry. Aha! You wouldn't be train jumpers, would ya? The farmer said. Well, not intentionally, but you know point A to point B, Dave said with a chuckle. The farmer paused and stared down both Dave and Jesse. Tell you what, you boys walk up to the barn, and I will meet you there. I got a truck up there and I will take you into town. We got a nice little motel that Abe owns. I am sure he could let you stay there for a night, the farmer said. Thank you, sir. We got money for Abe, we just don't have wheels. We would really appreciate you taking us to town, Dave said. Dave reached up and shook the farmer's hand, and he and Jesse began the last 100 yards to the barn. The driver beat Jesse and Dave to the barn. He was standing by the truck when they got there. If you boys don't mind, could you ride in the bed of the truck? Got my dog up in the front with me, the farmer said. Dave and Jesse gave an affirmative and threw their backpacks in the bed and flopped over the side and sat on the fender wells. The farmer drove Jesse and Dave into town and pulled in front of an old motel with a sign that read "Sleep Right." Dave raised his eyebrows, "Home sweet home." Jesse and Dave jumped out of the truck and strapped their backpacks to themselves and shook hands with the farmer. They walked into the motel lobby and an older gentleman met them at the desk. You must be Abe, Dave said. Yes, sir. Can I help you? The man said. The man was dressed in overalls and a flannel shirt. Can me and my brother get a room for the night? Dave asked. I got a room with 2 doubles. Be $50, tax included, the man who was apparently Abe said. Dave took a $100 bill from his backpack and handed it to the man. Keep the change. You know, deposit and all. And, try and forget what we look like. The man nodded. Room number 5. Dave took the key and they walked to the room. Dave unlocked the door and opened it. It was the bare minimum. A TV, 2 beds, and an end table between the beds. Not exactly the Taj Mahal. Jesse said. Better than the bed of a train car, Dave said. Much better, Jesse said as flopped down on the bed. Tell me a bedtime story, Uncle Dave, G said. Shut the hell up, Dave said as he flopped down on the bed opposite Jesse. Chapter 22 Helmut Schnell. Marla woke as Ty brought the car to a stop. He had pulled onto a gravel entry just off the highway. Ty got out of the Buick LeSabre and was looking under a utility truck with a for sale sign. Ty opened the driver's side door to the truck and was lying half on the floorboard and half on the ground outside. Marla noticed the truck had a large, attached toolbox and had Bob's remodeling on the side. She heard the truck's engine start. Ty walked back to the Buick. "What are you doing?" Marla asked. "Buying a truck," Ty said in a matter-of-fact statement. "Go get in the truck," he added. "Mommy, I am hungry," Heaven said. "I know, baby," Marla said as she carried Heaven from the car and placed her in the truck. "Fasten your belt, Heaven." "Whose truck is this, Mommy?" Heaven said in her tiny voice. "It is Mr. Ty's truck," Marla said. Ty took the for sale sign and laid it in the front seat of the Buick and took out a stack of money from his backpack and placed the cash under the for sale sign. "That should be enough," he uttered to himself. He then took the keys to the Buick and put them above the visor on the passenger side. He walked to the truck and hopped in and barely shut the door before he shifted to drive and spun the tires, and the three were back on the road again. "Mommy, I'm hungry," Heaven said. "Oh, I almost forgot," Ty said as he reached into a bag and handed Marla 2 muffins. "I hope those are okay," Ty said. Marla pinched a bite off the muffin for Heaven and gave it to her. Mommy, this is good," Heaven said. "Wow, amazing," Marla said. "Where did you get these?" Ty looked in the rearview mirror. "Pedro's muffins. It was a drive-through at 3 in the morning. I have already eaten 4-inch, Ty said with a laugh. "You and Heaven cried yourselves to sleep. I didn't bother you. I just bought a dozen muffins. If you don't like those flavors, I have others here," Ty said. "No, these are incredible," Marla said. "Thank you." "I'm sorry," Ty commented. "This is really difficult. I can't imagine having to go through all this. And with a child to boot." Marla simply nodded and smiled. "Ty, I know you said you used to be a mercenary, but how did you get into this? Long story, but I can give you the Reader's Digest version. I have a twin brother named Trey. Our father was a basketball coach and teacher. He was accused of having an affair with a student. We never believed the accusations, but our mother believed it. They quickly divorced and he went to jail. He was attacked in the breakfast line and was stabbed numerous times with a pencil that was turned into a shank," Ty said. "Oh no," Marla said. "They never proved that he had the affair, but they never proved he didn't. There are only 2 people who know for sure and one of them clearly isn't speaking. Mom ended up losing control of her car in icy conditions in Minnesota and she died due to blunt force injuries," Ty added. "Oh no, Ty, I am so sorry," Marla said. "So, me and Trey end up in the system. You know, foster care, etc. Our worker for CPS was a real asshole. Ended up adopting us," Ty said. "Well, that doesn't sound so bad. A CPS worker, they probably love kids," Marla said. "In my and Trey's experience, we have never met a CPS worker that cared about kids at all. Our adopted mom pimped us out," Ty said. "What do you mean, pimped you out?" "Do you mean what I think you mean?" Marla inquired. Ty nodded. "Exactly what I mean. It was every weekend and sometimes once during the week. The thing is, for boys, once you hit puberty, the interest gets less and less. For girls, they are used until they aren't deemed worthy. For a boy, it is age. The younger the better. When Trey and I were turning 13, we knew we were in trouble, so we devised a plan. We convinced our mom to make an arrangement with our favorite uncle. He was of course a John. We were to meet him at a motel south of town where we lived in Minnesota. Trey undressed and laid down on the bed so that when the man walked in, it would attract all his attention. When he walked in, I slit his throat." Marla gasped. "Oh my lord. With a knife?" "No, I had broken the lamp and I used shards to do the job. Trey got dressed and we hit the road. We hitched rides and got into Minneapolis. We found out that the man behind the trafficking of children in our area was by the name of Helmut Schnell. He was a bigwig at Sethrich Pharmaceuticals. My whole goal was to get revenge. My journeys took me to some Somalians in Minneapolis. Me and Trey were trained by them, and we were sent to Africa at the age of 15. We were known as the American Ghosts. You know, because of the paler skin and blonde hair. When we were 18, we came to the realization that we were not any better than Helmut Schnell. We were protecting the people that were virtually doing the same thing. Somehow, by the grace of God, the Rev found us. He got us back here and eventually we became members of the Shield, Ty concluded. Wow, that is quite a story, Marla said. Every word true, Ty said. Trey and I are identical twins. He is far more muscular than I, but I am far better looking, Ty said with a laugh. I am sure that is true, Marla said with a gleam in her eye. Can we have another muffin? Marla asked. Of course, Ty said as he handed the bag to her. Only about an hour away. Chapter 23: A Killing in 7-Elevens. Dave pulled into the convenience store parking lot. Yesterday, he bought a Toyota Tacoma from a man in the Piggly Wiggly parking lot. He handed the man a money order for $15,000 and gave a post office box that is monitored by Bucky Meeks. That way the man could send the title, and everything would appear above the board. He parked the Tacoma and he and Jesse walked into the store. Go grab us a couple of hot dogs. I have some business that needs to be taken care of, Dave told Jesse. Jesse watched as Dave walked to the counter. He showed the man at the counter the inside of his wallet as if flashing identification, Joe Jones, Department of Homeland Security. Do these cameras work? Dave asked of the older gentleman behind the counter reading a newspaper. Nah, haven't worked in 10 years. Pretty much just for show, the man answered. You should get that fixed. There has been a rash of illegals robbing convenience stores recently, Dave said. Jesse watched it all transpire. Jesse wondered what Dave Duncan was doing. Jesse continued to top the hot dogs while watching his every move. Dave was clearly sneaking around. Dave walked softly behind a display of potato chips. Jesse furrowed his eyebrows as if trying to imagine what Dave was going to do. Was Dave going to steal potato chips? That doesn't make sense. Dave has had a plethora of cash at every step. Jesse continued to watch Dave. Dave dropped his keys on the floor. He bent over and grabbed the keys and in one motion stood and seemed to thrust something into the back of the man beside him at the display. The stranger crumbled. Dave dragged the motionless man toward a janitor closet and opened the door and shoved the limp man into the small area. What did he do? Jesse thought. Dave made eye contact with Jesse and nodded toward the counter. Jesse took the 4 hot dogs and Dave grabbed 2 cans of Dr. Pepper. Jesse sat the hot dogs on the counter. I will pay for that, young man, Dave said to Jesse as if he didn't know him. Oh, thank you, Jesse said. Dave placed a $20 on the counter and got the change and met Jesse in the parking lot. Let's go, quickly, Dave said. What was all that? Jesse said as Dave sped the Tacoma onto the road and quickly got it to speed. What do you mean? Dave said with a smile. Department of Homeland Security, Jesse said. You have a badge? Not exactly. I did buy a sticker from Spencer Gifts. Most people don't pay attention when you flash a badge and act as if you have authority, Dave replied. Wow, that is ballsy. What if the old man asked to see the badge closer or some ID? Jesse said. Let's just say, it is a good thing he didn't, Dave said. I would have killed him. Are you kidding me? Jesse said. Dave just smiled. Who was the guy? What guy? Dave said as he shoved no less than half a hot dog in his mouth. That old man? No, jackass, the guy you shoved in a closet, Jesse said. I don't know. I didn't ask for ID. I just know he followed us for miles, Dave answered. You don't even know if he was there for us? What if he was just a guy? Jesse asked. I tell you what, Jester, you look at this phone. Open it and look at the camera. There should be video there, Dave said. Jesse took the phone and opened it to the camera. He saw the video. The phone was a video of Jesse preparing the hot dogs. Why was he filming me? And how did you know? I figure he was filming you to send to someone in the Lords. Possibly to kill you. Take you? Unsure, Dave said. But how did you know? Jesse said. I was watching him on the monitor. Just because the cameras in the store aren't recording doesn't mean you can't see on the monitor the people in the store. I saw what he was doing and put two and two together and came up with danger, Will Robinson, Dave said with a chuckle. The two of them drove the next few minutes with just the sound of chewing and drinking in the car. What are we doing in Indiana? Jesse asked. You'll see, Dave said. Chapter 24 Safety for Marla. Ty turned off the country road onto a gravel driveway. The driveway turned and twisted and got darker the farther it wound into the woods. Where are we going? You aren't going to dispose of us, are you? Marla laughed. I have seen you in action. I have my ways, Ty said. They both laughed as Heaven began to squirm, stretch, and wake up. This is my brother's place. He and the Rev built it. They used lumber they cut from these woods. It is like a log cabin from the 19th century. The view began to clear. Marla could see the log cabin to which Ty had referred. My goodness, that is amazing. Ty smiled and looked in the rearview mirror and saw her smile. My brother is definitely top shelf. The truck came to a rolling stop. Heaven and Marla got out of the back seat and a large German shepherd came running to Ty and jumped up and tried to give him a hug. Hi Georgie, Ty said as he bent down and rubbed the dog on the head. The strong dog jumped again and knocked Ty onto his back, licking on Ty as he went. Okay, Ty said. I think we just found your kryptonite, Marla said. This is Georgie, Ty said. Doggy, Heaven squealed. Georgie pranced over to Heaven and rubbed against her. This dog is adorable, Marla said as she hugged Georgie. He is actually a watchdog. I saw him rip a guy's throat out one night, Ty said. Are you serious? Marla said. Maybe, Ty said. Hey big brother, a large blond man came from behind the log cabin. He looked exactly Ty except it looked like his muscles were sprouting muscles. He didn't have a shirt on and had been chopping wood for the fireplace. The muscles glistened from the sweat and setting sun. He looked like a cover of a romance novel. Ty and Trey met with a giant hug. Love you brother, Ty said. Love you too, Trey said. And who are these lovely ladies? The tall one is Marla, and the little shorty is Heaven, Ty said. Well, pleased to meet you, Trey said as he bent down a knee and shook the tiny hand of Heaven and then stood and shook the hand of Marla. I am Trey, the younger and much better-looking brother. Sure, you are, Ty said as he gave a soft punch to Trey's arm. Come on in, Trey said. All of them walked into the log cabin. I got some stew in the pot and fresh rolls in the oven. Anyone hungry? Absolutely, Ty said. Rabbit, deer, hamburger, which one? Snake, Trey said. Marla frowned. Snake? Don't knock it until you try it, Trey said. Trey got a bowl for each of them and put a fresh roll on a paper plate for each of them. Marla cooled down the stew and then took a bite. Oh my gosh, this is amazing, she said. So, what is the plan? Trey asked Ty. I need you to keep Marla and Heaven here for as long as it takes. Keep them safe, of course. I am going to take a thumb drive to Bucky. He is going to decipher some encrypted information. Once he gets that done, then I will go to the fishing cabin in Canada and I will need you to bring Marla and Heaven there and I will turn the cabin over to her, Ty said. Is that okay with you, Marla? We have to move to Canada. What will we do for money? Who will keep us safe? Marla questioned. You will be fine. It is a retreat that members of the Shield use. There is a guy who lives there named Andrew Stevens. Andrew is going to be your guard. He is going to look like an old fisherman. He looks like he is 70 years old. It is all a ruse. He is a master of disguise. He may be 40, tops. He will keep you safe, Ty added. Are you sure? Marla asked. And money? Ty spoke, there's plenty of money at the cabin. Trey can show you how to access it. It releases $1,000 a week. I will get there as soon as I can. Then what? Marla asked. That is where I live, Ty said. Can I have more, Mommy? Heaven asked. Of course, honey, Marla said. We good? Ty asked. Trey spoke, good on my end. Marla shook her head yes. Can you put a shirt on for gosh sakes? You are scaring the girl, Ty said. They laughed. Chapter 25, the beginning of the next step. Dave parked the Tacoma in a parking lot beside a place that had a flashing sign. Willie's Bar. Going for a drink? Jesse asked. Nope, going for a Jenkins, Dave said with a laugh. What? Jesse said. Grab your backpack and follow me, Dave said. Dave led Jesse up a set of steps above the bar. He took a key out of his pocket. What is that? Jesse said. It's a bump key, Dave said. I will show you how to make one and use one someday. The two of them walked into the apartment. This is fancy for an apartment, Jesse said. My friend Jenkins has too much money, Dave said. How much does he have? Jesse said. No idea. Maybe 30 mil, Dave said. Want some oatmeal? Jenkins always has good oatmeal. Sure, Jesse said. The two of them sat down for bowls of oatmeal. They were still sitting at the table killing time when a back door opened, and a handsome, tall and athletic man entered. He stood near 6'2" with dark hair and crystal blue eyes. Hey Jenksy, Dave yelled. Jenkins jumped and took a big breath. Damn you, Dave, Jenkins said. You knew I was coming, Dave said. Of course, but can you come in the front door like a normal person, Jenkins said. But I did come in the front door, Dave said with that chuckle. No, I mean, with a knock and when someone is here, Jenkins said. Why? By the way, how's boobs? Dave said. Jenkins smiled, you never change. Her name is Amanda, and she is fine. What is on the agenda for the night? Dave asked. Thought I might go for a run and then settle in for Seinfeld reruns, Jenkins answered. Sounds good. Want a partner? Dave said. Sure. What about the new guy? Jenkins said. This is Jesse. Keeping him safe until tomorrow, Dave answered. Jesse raised his eyebrows. Tomorrow? He doesn't know, Jenkins said, directing it toward Dave. Need to know, Jenksy, need to know, Dave said. What does that mean? Jesse asked. I think you know, Dave said. The three of them went for a jog later that evening after getting to know one another. Jenkins clearly was more prepared for the run. As they completed the run, they all sat in the park. Jenkins hopped up on the picnic table. He and Dave had sat here before. This is where Dave had convinced Jenkins to join him in the Shield. It was beginning to get dark and the three of them sat in silence as they got their breath and began to regain their strength. You haven't been running, Jenkins said to Dave, poking at him. I have been running, just not with my legs, Dave said. They made small talk and then Jenkins said what they all knew, we need to get back to the apartment. Definitely. Big day tomorrow, Dave said. There wasn't much Seinfeld to be watched as they all were feeling the effects of the run and Dave and Jesse from not feeling comfortable in a week. Jesse woke to the sound of muffled speaking. He couldn't make out all the voices, but he knew Dave and he thought he heard the Reverend. He slipped on his pants and tennis shoes and walked out into the living room where they had watched half of a Seinfeld episode last night. There he is, the Rev said. How you doing, Jesse? Well, I feel refreshed, Jesse responded. That is good because we are leaving, Sally Joe said. Jesse turned to see Sally Joe standing in the kitchen drinking from a mug. Jesse figured it was coffee. What do you mean? Jesse said. We are headed to Europe, the Rev said. Why? Jesse asked. Less is more, Jesse, the Rev said. Pack your stuff. We leave in 5-inch. What? Jesse said. Now, son, the Rev said. Jenksy, we go too, Dave said. Where? Jenkins said. We are going to see Mr. Sewer. He says he has a surveillance job for us, Dave said. We go in 5. Jenkins went to the closet by the door and reached in and got his backpack. Let's go dungeon, Dave. They all prepared and left. Little did Jesse, the Rev and Sally Joe know it would be the last time they saw Dave alive.